Good morning, everybody. How are you? We're very excited to be here with you in your homes. And I'm Dana Marie Kennedy, the State Director for AARP Arizona. And I am so excited for our topic today. We are here with Coach Sherry Ann Little, who has been with us for just about a year now. And she's helping us live our best life and be active and positive and energetic. So today, what are we going to be talking about, Sherry Ann?
We're going to be talking about how to stay fit and active while you're at home, during your workday. There's so many people still at home, and it looks like it's going to be that way for the foreseeable future for a little while. And so just giving some tips on how to stay active and fit, because so many people are just rolling out of bed and rolling right into their workday and then rolling right into their evening. And they're just not carving out time for themselves to stay fit and healthy. And that's not only important for our physical bodies, but our brain health as well. So it's just going to give some few tips today just to how to stay active.
Well, I think that, we all know that we need to take care of ourselves now more than ever. And our mental health is really important, as well as our physical health, and they're intertwined. And so I'm really looking forward to, I've, spent a lot of time in my house, and I've definitely adapted to doing more classes online in my house, but always like to mix it up a little bit. So I'll let you dive right into it, Sherry Ann.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is like finding new things to do. And that's one of the tips I was going to give, is just, branch out. We get so used to doing the same things, and it's like, it's fun to just go digital, is what we're saying, because we're at home and we're digital anyway. We're doing Zooms and all kinds of things. So YouTube is an amazing resource for yoga, for Pilates, to pick up a dance if you want to learn how to dance. There's all kinds of things that you can learn from YouTube. So just branch out and try something new. Like I think you said you did your yoga this morning. So are you accessing it through a YouTube channel, or are you?
So I've been told to try yoga with Adrienne on YouTube, but I haven't tried her yet. This morning I did a 30-minute class with Ashante with a Peloton app. And I'm in a fairly good shape, but when it comes to stretching and yoga, I'm a beginner. And so I'm, trying to do yoga a little bit more frequently,
Mhm.
and it's part of my New Year's resolution. And so I did a wonderful 30-minute class this morning. I also took Kona. It's always Kona time. So we had a beautiful walk watching the sunrise this morning as well. So I'm ready to go today.
I mean, and so you're not alone in not having, good flexibility. That actually is a very common thing with a lot of people. And a lot of that is because of the stagnant, like just being stagnant, sitting and being sedentary. Your muscles actually shorten. And so when the more sedentary you are, the shorter your muscles are. And so then when you go to use them, they're really, really tight. So it is very important. And it's a great idea to start the day with a stretch routine or a yoga routine. And there's so many things that you can find on YouTube as a resource. I mean, and sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. So just try one. If you don't like it, go try another. There's so many to go from. So
And
another thing, like you mentioned too, is you have Kona. Like if
yeah,
you have a pet, utilize that. Like really take advantage of having a pet and having a reason to go for a walk. And that's beautiful, because not only does he enjoy it, but so do you. And so it's, if you have a pet, utilize that opportunity to get outside and go for a walk. And so
yeah.
I'm sure it's because you do that probably every morning, because you call it Kona time.
Every morning we do Kona time, and now that the weather is really nice, and I feel like 2021 is stressful, if not more stressful right now with this vaccine rollout and me being able to advocate for people. I'm really stressed out at the end of the day. So I'm now calling it bonus time. And so I end the day with a walk with Kona around the neighborhood. And yesterday it was fun because I saw several neighbors, and normally I don't walk in the afternoon. So I'm kind of going for a walk at like 5:30, and just kind of ending my day that way. And then I got to see some neighbors, and we kept our distance and said hello, and it was nice.
Yeah, that extra little socialization is really key to your emotional, your mental, and your that health. That's really important. So
Yes.
when people are starting a routine, I do encourage you to stick to a schedule. Like pick a schedule that you're going to do every morning. And it is best to work out in the morning. And so and you have discovered that through your triathlon training and all the things that you do. And, your Kona time is in the morning. So, but if you stick with a routine, it's so much easier to do it on a more consistent basis. And mornings are best because what happens is if we don't get up and do it right away, the day steals it from us. And then by the end of the day, you're taking advantage of bonus time. But by the end of the day, so many people are just exhausted and they don't want to go do an exercise routine. So it is important to carve out that time. And if you're struggling with when to do it, just do it in the morning and just get it over with because it's the best way to start your day. You'll start it much more energized and feeling really, really good.
Well, the other thing I feel like if you in the day you've been in front of a screen all day long, and if it's your habit to kind of watch the news, which for me, I like to watch the local news at the end of the day, I am just going from one screen to another screen. And so I just decided I really don't need to watch 2 hours of the news. A half an hour will do it, or I could just read the paper. So I'm just kind of carving out a little bit of less time on the news and a little bit of more time, especially when the weather is this nice. There's no reason not to enjoy it.
Especially here. We've got to take advantage of it. But that's one of my tips too, that it's don't go from your desk to your couch. It's really not healthy for you. You really need to get up because when you're going to a job, you're not going from your desk to your couch. You're going from your desk out to your car, and there's this decompression period that you are able to have. And so when you go from your desk to your couch, you don't really have an opportunity to have that decompression period. And so it's best to go out, get some fresh air, even if you just walk up and down your street, or if go do laps in your backyard, like whatever, but get outside. Just do not go from your desk straight to your couch. It's really not a healthy thing to do for your body and your brain.
I agree.
And if you're at home and you're booking, and I touched on this briefly 2 weeks ago, if you're booking your appointments like back to back to back, you really need to carve time in there to where you can get up from where you're sitting, your desk. And if you have a walking desk, great, but still you need to give your brain a chance to just take a break. And so get up, but if you're sitting, get up and walk every hour, like walk laps in your house, go outside in your backyard. If you have stairs, utilize them. That's awesome. If you have a 2-story home, use those stairs. Like do a couple laps on your stairs, but every hour, just get up and move. Because even when people are going to a job, it's rare that people actually sit at their desk hour after hour after hour. They're getting up and, and they're going to see a coworker, or they're going to the printer, or they're doing things here and there. So just try to mimic what you would be doing even at your office at home. So just don't stay seated all day. Like get up.
I agree.
Yeah, and utilize that lunch hour. Like if you're taking a lunch hour, and that's the other thing is when people are working from home, they're plowing through that time. And it's just, you really need to take that time for yourself because you'll be so much more productive for work. Your brain function will be better. You'll be more alert. So take that break and walk on your lunch break. Just get outside, move your legs, get your heart rate elevated slightly. You don't have to break a sweat, but just get out and move and get some fresh air. And it's like we've said already, it's like, this is the perfect time of year to be outside and get some sunshine in your body because it's not going to melt your skin off.
Right. And what kind of relaxation techniques or exercise tips can you give us?
Oh, I will touch on that for sure. And I'll wait till like towards the end because I'll have to adjust my camera to kind of do some things. But, some of the things I want to recommend too is sneaking in exercise when you can. And when you're at home, and everybody hates to clean house, but like sneak it in, like vacuum a room really quick. Like if you're going to get up and move, or, go scrub the tub, or find something to clean, like just sneak in, if you have a garden, if you're lucky enough to have a garden, which I'm getting ready to plant one. So I'm very excited. Go outside and pick a few things, or turn some music on and dance for just a few minutes around your house. Or like I said, use the stairs, but sneak in any kind of movement that you can at any point in time during your day. And it kind of makes it fun if you think of quirky things that you're going to do around your house, but like sneak it in. So just sneak in exercise. And if you're comfortable with it and you have a jump rope, like jump ropes are one of the best tools that you can have. Like they're really tiny. They don't take up a lot of space. So if you don't have a jump rope, I would say go get a jump rope. And if you don't want to jump with a jump rope because you're afraid of catching your feet or then just mimic jumping. And
Mhm.
just, because it's such a childhood activity that people have lost. But it's a great one because in such a short period of time, you can get your heart rate elevated and it feels good just to move. So if you're too afraid of using a jump rope, which I can understand, then just mimic jumping with a jump rope. It's a
Isn't it
great,
funny? We used to jump rope all the time when we were kids in the
yeah,
playground.
yes, it's a great activity. I mean, it really is, but it's just such a lost activity because we think it's a a childish game, but it's actually really, really wonderful. So just jump. If you don't want to get a jump rope, just jump.
And
But utilizing the things around your house is really key too when we're doing some exercises. And because not everybody wants to go to the store to buy exercise equipment. And part of it is the finances, part of it is, well, how long are we really going to be at home? Is this going to be a waste? So there are things around your house that you can use for a weighted to use weights. Like you can just use a water bottle, I'm not a big fan of plastic water bottles. We use reusable water bottles.
mhm.
But just filling a water bottle, and you can fill it half full, you can fill it all the way full, depending upon how heavy you want it. But using water bottles as a weight, or if you have cans, you can use cans like cans of soup. Like it's a pound, and
Mhm.
when you're doing, enough reps, like a pound's a significant amount. And then if you want something even heavier, then just use a gallon. Like, this is a gallon of water, and this is a great tool that you can use for all kinds of activities. And even if you're walking laps in your house, just to kind of walk, carry a gallon of milk or a gallon of water with you and just give you a few extra weight pounds just to carry, just to make it a little more challenging and fun.
Right, right, right. Are there any other tips?
Oh, well, okay. Well, so I want you to think about how often you are exercising. And so when you look at your week, I would like for people to think about getting in at least 150 minutes a week. If you're just doing like easy walking or things like that, if you're doing more strenuous, then you can lower it to 75 to 100 minutes a week. So how I break it down is just 30 minutes a day. And if you can't carve out 30 minutes a day, then do 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night. I think that's pretty easy for people to stomach and to embrace and to just to begin with. So if you can't do a 30 minutes in the morning to really start your day, then give yourself 15 minutes in the morning and then give yourself 15 minutes in the evening and try to do that at least 5 days a week. And there's your 150 minutes of just moving. And that's just enough to like keep you healthy. And of course, the more you do, or if you get in some more strenuous activity in there, that's even better. And so it's just important to get our heart rates up, get blood flow, so our organs can actually function the way they're supposed to function, so that we can digest our food the way we're supposed to digest our food, for our mental health, all of those things. And then on top of like just getting some aerobic activity, you want to have some weight bearing activity that you're doing in there just to help maintain bone density. Because as we age, we do lose our muscle mass and we do lose bone density. But when you're doing a weight bearing exercise, it actually strengthens your bones and helps maintain your muscle mass. So doing some weight bearing exercises is actually really, really important. And so some of the most basic things, and I'll just keep things very, very simple today. So I'm going to kind of lower this because I'm going to step back from the camera. This is the joys of filming from home.
Mhm.
So if you're nervous about doing like squats, you can do it. You can have a chair so that you can sit onto the chair so it can hold you. So all you're going to do is you're going to squat down and squat as low. I would really like for your thighs to be parallel to the ground. But if that's too nerve-wracking for you, then just have a chair below you, so in case if you fall, like it'll catch you. But you're just going to be doing body weight squats. And you're just going to squat and then stand back up. And what I want is your feet to be right at hip width, shoulder, so hips, shoulders, hips, feet. So everything's kind of in line. And you're just going to sit back like you're going to sit down on a chair or sit down on the toilet, like however you want to do it. And if you're more comfortable doing it this way, you can have the chair in front of you and just put your hands on the back of the chair just to stabilize you. And you're just going to squat down and stand back up. And if you can do 15 of those, that's awesome. And so the next lower body exercise that I'd like for people to think about is doing a lunge. And so when you're doing a lunge, just be careful and watch your front leg and make sure that your shin is perpendicular to the ground. Because if it's not and your knee is in front of your toe, if it's angled forward, then you're going to put a lot of strain on your knee and it's not going to feel very good. So when you're doing a lunge, though, this also helps with stability and balance because your legs are split. They're not side by side and they're not as stable. So when you're doing a lunge, sometimes it's nice just to have a chair until you have good stability and good balance. And so when you're doing a lunge, just hold that lunge down in like an isometric position, just down low. You're just gonna hold, you're not gonna be able to see because of the camera, but just hold that lunge down low and just stay there for as long as you can. If you can hold it for 10 seconds, awesome. If you want to bump it up as you get stronger, do that and try to work yourself up to holding a lunge for a full minute. And if that back knee needs to touch the ground for a little bit of stability, then that's okay. So it's starting small and not feeling too overwhelmed with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So another really great one for mobility, because we sit so much. So I like to, if you want to use a gallon, so a gallon of water is 10 pounds when it's full. This isn't quite full because we've taken some water out of it. But so a full gallon is 10 pounds. So if you want to do some rotation work for your core, you can hold a gallon jug. You can kind of pick your feet up if you are able to, but just doing twist work, holding this gallon, this 10 pounds, like this will help. And if you're not ready to hold something that heavy, that's okay. Like try to hold your feet up. I'll turn sideways. And just do some twist work so you can have some mobility in your core and you can get some core strength in there. So but just remember that when you're adding weight, it's going to make it a little more challenging, just a little bit. So another great core exercise is holding plank, which is like holding a push-up position, which we all know what a push-up position is. It's just, but if you're not ready to do it flat on the ground, you can use your kitchen table or your kitchen counter. And when you're doing that, just make sure that if it's a table, it's not going to slide away from you. That would not be a good thing. So, but when you're lowering down, just make sure you're lowering down to the surface with the right below your chest. Okay, so you're just going to be doing push-ups. That's an elevated push-up. That's a little easier than doing it flat on the ground. So if you're not ready to do push-ups on the ground, and you can always put your knees down too when you're doing push-ups on the ground.
Right.
So the thing is like keep it simple, keep it manageable. Don't overdo it, because if you do, you're just going to be upset because you're going to be sore and you're like, I don't want to do that. That wasn't fun. But doing push-ups are a great core exercise, and it's also a chest and shoulder exercise. Really, really great. Another upper body one is if you're wanting to fill your water bottle, you can just do bicep curls holding your water bottle, and based on how much you fill it, that's how heavy it's going to be. So you don't have to have weights at home. And let's see. So another thing that you can buy at the store if you want to buy something that's relatively affordable are these bands. Do you have any of these at home, Dana?
I don't have those ones. I have other ones.
Do you have these flat ones?
Yes.
Like these are TheraBands. So you have like these exercise bands that you can get. You can get these at any.
Oh, I have those. Yeah.
Target with the handles on.
I don't use them, but I have them.
And then these are TheraBand ones. And so the only difference is these are used more for like yoga and Pilates. This style is. And then these are used for strengthening. And you just stand on it. So you just stand on it. And this is a way to do a bicep curl. It's just using the band because it's a nice, good resistance. And once again, if you go to YouTube and you punch in exercise bands, it'll give you all kinds of exercises to do with these wonderful little tools. And another one that you can get, do you have any of these where they're just a circle?
Yep.
Yeah, and you can have these. These are great because you can put them around your legs and do different exercises just to create some resistance. So when you have resistance, the key to it is to make sure that it's just enough to make it a little more challenging for you. And it's what it's going to do. It's just going to strengthen your muscles that much more. More resistance just encourages you to work a little bit harder. And so I love having those cheap little tools, because also when I get to traveling, then I can just pop them in my bag. And but I'm not traveling yet, but soon enough. But the last two things I want to show you are more yoga poses. And these are fun because they're not only going to help your core, but they'll also just teach you balance. And one of them is the tree pose, which, because you and I were talking about not children's pose, sitting pose, right?
Yeah.
So tree pose, sometimes you're going to need a chair until you have really good balance. But what you're going to do is you reach down and grab your ankle, and you're going to pull it up as high as you can. Some people can't get it up that high, but if you get it right to your knee, that's great. You just push the foot into the knee. And then what you're going to do is then you have your hands, you're going to put them up. But sometimes you can't get them up, so some people have to hold on to a chair to offer balance. But this is a great one, and do it on both legs. And if you're not ready for a full tree pose, just pick your leg up just a little bit. And even if you want to set it on a block, just to where all your weight is on one leg, and let the other one just be up off the ground. But learn to try to stand on one leg for as long as you can, because this is such a huge skill that we lose as we age. And so having that balance and that ability to stand on one foot is really key. And then if you can do it really well, my next challenge for you is to close your eyes. So if you can do it with your eyes closed, that's even better, because you have no spatial awareness to help keep your balance. So it's all internal. And so if you can get to where you can have internal balance, that's huge. The second yoga pose is just the chair pose. And this shows a lot of strength and flexibility for where you are at, because all you're going to do is you're going to sit back like you're going to sit in a chair, like as if you were doing a squat, except your feet are close together. And you're just going to sit back as far as you can. I'll tilt this down. And then you're going to sit back as far as you can, and you hold your hands out in front of you at an upper angle. And sometimes that's really hard for shoulder flexibility. If you don't have shoulder flexibility, which I know you do because you're a swimmer, you can hold your hands straight out in front of you. But this is going to show you just where your strength in your legs are at, your core strength. And it's a really great exercise just to do on a regular basis. Just get up in the morning, do a few yoga poses. Child's pose actually is my favorite pose. It's when you can't show it because you're down on the ground, but you're like, imagine like a little kid, like in a ball. And that one's because it's just the most compressed feeling, and I can feel all my insides, and it's just, I'm very compressed. And so I'm in a little ball. And so maybe it's just because it makes me feel comfortable
Right.
to be in a little baby position. But yeah, so just utilize your body, and don't be afraid to try new things. Like utilize YouTube to give you some ideas as to what kind of yoga, because that's the other thing, is there's all kinds of yoga to try. So just don't be afraid to try it. If you don't like it, try something else. Just keep moving along, moving through things, and try dancing. You'd be surprised at how great it feels to put music on and just dance in your house.
Right.
That's going to get your heart rate up, and you'll be laughing at the same time, because you're going to laugh at yourself. And if you live with people, they're going to laugh at you. Or laugh at you.
I just saw this weekend that there's actually laughing yoga.
And
they're doing it in the park, and it just looked like a lot of fun. But it's a good point that you make as far as laughter, because they do say that laughing is a huge stress relief. Mm-hmm. And I think that, anything that we can do to kind of, just be silly and make each other laugh can really have a lot of health benefits that we may not realize.
Oh, 100%. It does boost your immune system. It really, they've done studies where it does. So it's like, and if you have children in your home, utilize that. They're unencumbered as much as we are. Yes, they're dealing with their own stresses depending upon their age, but it's like, laugh with them, like find things just to be silly about. And that's dancing in our house is the one thing that will make us laugh the most.
That's awesome. So I had a question about heart rate. So you said we should be doing about 150 minutes of exercise a week. And of that, like what's a heart rate to kind of aim for?
That's a great question and also a challenging one to answer only because it's different for everyone. And
Right.
so depending upon like your baseline, heart rate, your resting heart rate, because some people have a very elevated resting heart rate and that's because their heart is working so hard. So the lower your resting heart rate is, the stronger your heart is actually. And so what it is how I, instead of doing heart rate for people that aren't familiar with heart rate, because you're an athlete, but is doing a talk test. So
Okay.
if you can get out 3 to 5 words without having to like need more air, then you're in your aerobic zone. Now, if it's 3 or less, then you're moving into what we consider an anaerobic, and your heart rate's probably a little more, it's higher, and it's more rigorous. And so, but doing a talk test, getting out like 3 to 5 words is great. Like, and if you can really talk and not have any issues, then you might want to pick up the pace just a little bit.
Mhm. And I guess more important is just that we're getting out and getting moving,
Yes.
and if we can, connect with other people, um, virtually or whatever, that's probably another added benefit. And holding have a workout partner. Um, so
It does make it challenging during these times, but you can't, I mean, we're doing so much by Zoom. Like you can even do a Zoom like work dance party. You could do a Zoom dance party with your friends, and you could do yoga together. They're making it easier now for people to join in to do things, together. So you can take a yoga class with your friend and not be in the same house. So
right,
it's manageable. It's not the best, but it's manageable.
right, right. And what do we have to look forward to in a couple weeks?
Oh my goodness. So on the 16th, we are going to talk about tips on how to improve your brain health. I'm really enjoying Sanjay Gupta's book, Keep Sharp, and the importance of brain health. And I know that, the AARP community could really benefit from just some of the tips that I can give for that. So I'm excited.
Well, we're looking forward to that. And I probably should have mentioned this at the top of the hour, but again, this is ARP Arizona, and we are a non-profit, nonpartisan organization, and we advocate for people 50 plus to live their best lives. And we have all kinds of programs available to meet you where you're at. And you can just go to our website at aarp.org/Arizona to see our programs. And we also have a Facebook page, which you're probably familiar with watching this right now. And we often list a lot of our events, or at least some of our events. So we want to thank you all for joining us today. And this is Dana Kennedy, State Director with AARP Arizona, with our life coach, fitness guru, Sherry Ann Little. So thank you so much for joining us today. And this concludes the show.